So Wormhole, giant exploit. Apparently, a hacker walked away with $326 million worth of crypto, which was crazy. So if you don't know what Wormhole is, it's a popular bridge for connecting Ethereum, Solana, a bunch of others. And there was this hack. Some people noticed that there were like 80,000 ETH that was moved to an address that was also in possession of $250 million worth of ETH. They realized that there was this exploit, so they started to negotiate on chain with this hacker to see, you know, can we offer you a bounty? Apparently, the development team of Wormhole offered this hacker $10 million. There's been ongoing negotiations, and then we just got word this morning that apparently they all funds have been restored. They tweeted, Wormhole tweeted this morning that the service is back up, funds have been restored, and they promise a full incident report of what happened. I'm super intrigued by this. Is this a gray hat? Is this a white hat? Is this a black hat who got threatened? Like, it's a very gray area, right? It's just a very interesting scenario. I'm looking forward to this incident report, but I'll throw it to you, Zach, for your take.
Yeah, so the latest is that this is a big old DeFi bailout. So the owner of Certus One, which developed the Wormhole bridge, is Jump Capital. They have a crypto trading wing. According to sources, talking to CoinDesk, it's a bailout from Jump. They're the folks who have, quote unquote, restored the funds that are now back on the bridge to maintain functionality for what has become a critical piece of infrastructure for the Solana DeFi ecosystem. So there was a lot of worry that this would have spillover effects to other Solana projects and other things across this very composable DeFi world. And so sources say that Jump has stepped in to restore these funds to avoid such a catastrophe. So interesting stuff here.
We're dealing with a black hat.
Yeah.
He's
well,
gone.
we don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Incident report. We do not know. I think it's going to be hard for that person or persons to walk away with the entire amount. And I think, people sort of looking at 10 million versus 326 million, maybe should understand that. But it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. But for this, in terms of a stopgap measure to make sure that this doesn't, have contagion effects, it appears as though Jump Capital has restored the funds that have been pilfered in this exploit. But Jen, very curious for your thoughts.
Yeah, I just actually have a question for Naomi. I know you're going to talk about the tweet from Vitalik that was mentioned in this article. And I myself am guilty, even though I understand the difference between multi-chain and cross-chain, of confusing the words, right? And Vitalik talks about how cross-chain bridges are not secure, but I'm curious as to why they're so popular then. So maybe you can explain it to us and tell us why it's so popular if it's so largely known that they're not secure and susceptible to hacks like this.
For sure. Let's start by looking into this tweet. So Vitalik was quite prescient. He said a couple of months ago, the start of January, he said, my argument for why the future will be multi-chain, but it will not be cross-chain. There are fundamental limits to the security of bridges that hop across multiple zones of sovereignty. He goes into very clearly explain what those limitations are, the security vulnerabilities there. And lo and behold, a couple of months later, we end up with, 1 month later, we end up with a big hack. So a lot of people are citing Vitalik's tweet saying he's incredibly prescient in this. Some other people are saying, like, you proved your point, Vitalik, give back the money. Not sure that it was Vitalik there. So to answer your question, Jen, multi-chain, I mean, we've got this multi-chain world currently. We're not converging upon one single currency. In fact, the predominance of Bitcoin is going down over time, but they tend to be siloed. There were these walled gardens that have their own ecosystem. Now, what we've done to sort of bridge those worlds is build these bridges like Wormhole, which connect these different siloed gardens, and that's a multi-chain, like cross-chain world where people can wrap things, move to other ecosystems, etc. And Vitalik's saying that that's inherently insecure because those bridges do not have the correct security needed to safeguard these assets. But Zach, I'll throw it to you for your final thoughts on all this.
Yeah, no, that was it. I mean, you got to get your money from one ecosystem to the next, and that's why these bridges have proved extremely popular, often with the help of little incentives to get people to start voting with their feet and get across from one side of the chasm to the other. But this is interesting. Some blockchain analytics firms are calling this exploit the fourth largest in crypto history, so it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. for Wormhole and other folks in the Solana DeFi ecosystem.